Now is the time to explore your greatest potential, embracing truth, health, and wellness while discarding the system and exposing its corruption. Experience true freedom every Saturday night between 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live from Studio B, it's the Jonathan Wright Show. Find it right here at revolution.radio.
Alert, listen up now.
Two corner with Metro 0XE05173. We talk about decentralization and bank annihilation. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Litecoin, your coin, blockchain, baby. Mondays at 1600 hours Eastern Studio A.
Understanding must arise during these times of unparalleled deceit. A view into the depths of society upon which this country has fallen, a storm brews upon the horizon. It's been said that those that have the eyes to see and the ears to hear will play a paramount role in the furthering of humanity and civilized society. But can civilized society and humanity survive the coming conflicts? Not seen since a dawn of time in ages bypast. But you can find true forms of information and knowledge in abundance at revolution.radio, freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the globe. Stand upon the right side of history.
General Holder, you've got to get us out of here now! I won't let you down. I won't let you down, son.
Revolution.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
It is ebb and flow, tidal gravity. It is ecological balance. You are an old man who thinks in terms of nations and peoples. There are no nations. There are no peoples. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no West. There is only one holistic system of systems. One vast and immane, interwoven, interacting, multivariate, multinational dominion of dollars. Petrodollars, electrodollars, multi-dollars, Reichmarks, Rins, rubles, pounds, and shekels. It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet. That is the natural order of things today. That is the atomic.
Keep moving, 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 though they're disapproving. Keep them doggies moving.
It's time for High Noon with Chicago Brew.
Don't try to understand them, just smoke, grow, and brand. Soon we'll be living high and wide. My heart's calculating.
My name's Jimmy Jean, host of Into the Microcosm. I'll be sitting in for Chicago Brew today. Stick around, stand by, tune in, and lean on back.
If you are the healer, means I'm broken and lame. If thine is the glory, then mine must be the shame. You want it darker, we kill the flame.
So much going on.
Sanctified be thy holy name. Vilified, crucified in the human frame. A million candles burning for the help that never came. You want it darker. Hey, nay, 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 nay. I'm ready, my lord.
All right. Well, hey, there's a lot going on. I started a new political party called the Cognitive Liberty Party. We could talk some about that. There's so much going on in the world. I just throw a dart and hit something.
Can't sleep at night. Grab your telephone. Something ain't right. And it's evil. Evil going on. Let me tell you, brother, you better watch your happy home. Long way from home.
Hey, don't forget, Revolution Radio, fully listener supported. Come on down, become a supporter. You can find Chicago Brew here every Wednesday, 3 o'clock Pacific. Like I said, my name is Jimmy G, and I'm here Friday nights, 9 o'clock Pacific on Studio A. And I'm here in California, the left coast, as it were. This is Pat Travers, hey? There he goes. Pat Travers. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate that. All right, well, like I was saying, fully listener supported. Come on down and become a patron. It's been going for 13 years. It was the dream of the Hawk, the Night Hawk, and still going strong. Studio A, Studio B, 48 hours a day. Come on down, become a supporter. Want to be on the radio? Give us a call. Contact us. Maybe there's a slot for you. Who knows? You like to call in? Maybe you could do a show. Many people have. Many people have started in radio that way. Calling. I mean, technically, I guess you could say I did too. Early on, before I was, involved in the independent media, I used to be politically motivated. Used to call big national radio shows and jam up the program. And, I called them all. Rush Limbaugh, Hannity. I called a bunch of left-leaning broadcasters, and I honestly can't remember any of their names now. They've all disappeared from the scene. The old guard or whatever. So, yeah. So anyway, so if you don't know me, been around for a bit in the independent media, been on a few different networks or thrown off a few networks. Started a network, the Independent Broadcast Network, IBN247.com. We're down for maintenance right now. And you can also find my show over on YouTube, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy G, and there's a lively chat going on there now. as there always is. But anyway, the point being is I've been around for a bit and been doing shows. I did a show 5 nights a week for a period of time on the Aftermath network following Clyde Lewis's show. And been here on Revolution Radio, I think 3-4 years, something like that. Yeah, we delve a lot into the microcosm. We talk quite a bit about technology, science, and the melding of science and technology and the use of that technology on the human form. And we've been doing that for quite a bit and talking about it, in all the forms that it came in. Obviously there was, when it started out as just a conversation around a fire, and eventually it was a book, and then it was a radio, and then it was a TV, and then it was a movie, and then it was a, so on and so forth. And here we are, social media. And we've taken all that information that was gleaned and being able to manipulate the human form via these methods. And it's all been put into a simple package that you can utilize on the internet now. It's called social media. And we've moved into the wireless age, obviously, and that's how I got into doing broadcasting here in the independent media in the first place, was because I had a contracting business. I built cell towers, not the towers themselves, but I put the equipment in and hung the antennas, that type of thing. And so I ended up getting cancer from doing that. And so once I had stage 4 lymphoma, and so once I got better, eventually I got around to trying to have conversations about it on the air to warn people. And like I say, this is a while back, so I learned pretty quickly, though, that when I was doing that, obviously, no one is going to turn off their phone, and no one is going to turn off their wireless. And the thing about that technology is the only thing people want is more. They want to be able to do more. They want to be faster. They want to watch movies. Pretty soon, and I'm not speculating. I've seen a demonstration of it, but pretty soon everyone will be able to have a 3D representation of, who do you like? Jim Morrison singing one of his songs that you like right on the palm of your hand. It's possible. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the thing that we're doing. We decided, we've been doing shows and talking about this stuff, and we decided that we're going to try to do something and get active politically around a subject matter. And the subject matter is cognitive liberty. It's the most important matter in the 21st century. We've developed a Bill of Rights, 9 rights of human beings, and we feel pretty strongly that we can do something. And I think together, all of us, if you guys can join in with us, if you're interested in what we're talking about, if you're interested in being motivated to do something for change, you may be able to just sit on your ass at the house and use your mouse. It might be that simple. So we're going to try to group up. We're going to try to get together as many people as we can. We're going to start talking about it. And today's really, I've talked about it Saturday night, or Sunday. We have the website up. Go on over there. It's cognitiveliberityparty.org. cognitiveliberityparty.org. Go over there. It's not 100% ready. It'll be ready by this weekend, but we'll have a place where you can sign up, become a member, and we're going to be politically motivated, like I said. And it's a group thing. It's not. I'm not the brain of it, although I'm putting it together. But I'm not here to run it. I'm here to put it together and help everybody get it together. I want to be the catalyst for us to move into the future correctly. And with all the bullshit that's going on with these elections and this nonsense and this kabuki theater and the bullshit, this subject matter isn't even in the discussion. You'll be lucky if you can have any kind of discussion outside of abortions and the border and gun control. It's going to be abortions, the border, and gun control. okay? And you're never going to hear one single peep about this shit. Meanwhile, I live in the Silicon Valley. Believe me, it's moving forward, right? And it's once it's in, you can't get rid of it. That's the thing. That's what I was trying to tell people, a decade ago. Is that once it's in, that's it. You ain't getting it out. And the second thing is that if there's already a public utility there, they can just hang it on that, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's a school down in Monterey that went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they ruled that once it's on the once there's a public thoroughfare for the electricity, they can hang their tower stuff on those electricity towers and poles. Anyways, all right, so we'll get more into the cognitive liberty subject in a few minutes, because I have a whole bunch of stuff here I can bring to the table, but Brew asked me to come on by, and hadn't really had any time to put anything together before I got here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to run through a little clip real quick, and while I'm doing that, I'll put this together here, and we can start talking a little bit more about this. My name is Jimmy. This is High Noon with Chicago Brew. I'm sitting in for the bruh, and he's out working, busting his ass, giving the man 30%.
The average age of the world's great civilizations has been around 200 years. These nations have progressed through this sequence from bondage to spiritual faith, from spiritual faith to great courage, from great courage to liberty, and from liberty to abundance, from abundance to selfishness, from selfishness to complacency, from complacency to apathy, and from apathy back to dependence, and from dependence back to bondage, back to bondage, back to bondage.
I want to pick up on this issue of virtual reality, because you did, pioneer a lot of the conversation that people have around that, and have been critical about how technology has been affecting us. And I wonder when you started to see, as we pointed out in the opening, those red flags.
Here comes Jaron Lanier, and this dude is one of the OGs of the Silicon Valley. So take a listen to this.
That have accompanied the technological boom that we're now experiencing.
Well, for me, it happened on two levels. One thing is, you have to understand that for over 3 decades, I and my colleagues had been anticipating what wonders, the benefits we would bring to the world when networking became pervasive and cheap. And as the century turned and our long-term dream finally was unfolding, what we saw was something different. We saw the developed world folding into austerity. We saw a decline in the middle class in the U.S. We saw a decline in social mobility. And we saw this phenomenon of intense wealth concentration. And whenever I looked at one of these examples of intense wealth concentration around some financial scheme or something, there was always some giant computer on the network associated with that scheme. And what I started to realize is that we'd kind of screwed up. We had thought in sort of naive terms that by making a network with open information, all these benefits would accrue because everybody would have access to the information. But the problem is that even if people are created equal, computers are not. And whoever has the biggest computer, just naturally, even if they don't intend to do anything improper, will use that superior ability to gain this incredible advantage of being able to calculate all the risks and costs to other people. And it's just a phenomenon that builds up so much wealth and power around the big computers that it turns out not to be an architecture, not to be a way of doing things that we can live with. So that came as a surprise. I have to admit, I didn't see it. I don't think anybody did. We didn't see it in advance, but now we've seen it. And if we're going to be good engineers, if we're going to be empirical, we just have to rethink what we're doing.
And let's follow up on the example that you gave in the opening.
It's just a continuous process of trying to see the results of what you do and trying to improve upon them.
Sure. Let's follow up on the example that we gave in the opening, because the implications, as the Kodak example goes forward many times over, the implications on the middle class, the implications on society in general can be, well, potentially cataclysmic. What do you see in that case?
Well, Kodak created not just hundreds of thousands of jobs, but hundreds of thousands of middle-class jobs with security. And Instagram, I have nothing against great success. So I'm a Silicon Valley guy. I think it's great if somebody can innovate and have great success. But the problem with the way we're creating success is we create it by pretending that all the people who actually do the work don't exist, and we just concentrate the benefits around whoever has the most central computer. So in the case of Instagram, it's a computer that routed photographs, and here you have 13 people being worth $1 billion, whereas all the millions of people who are adding data to their network to make it valuable don't get paid. And now I know that a lot of your viewers are going to say, but they get free benefits. And all I can say is that informal benefits, like getting a free service, doesn't help you raise kids. It doesn't pay your rent. It doesn't get you through life. You need to have a society that generates formal benefits for people. As I say, this particular way we're doing things just concentrates wealth too much around the big computers. There's nothing wrong with big computers. I think a lot of what they do is essential for us. We just need to recalibrate the way we run our networks so that the ordinary people who always provide the value get more out of them, get formal benefits out of them. And I think there's ways to do that. I don't think it's that hard a problem. But there's this orthodoxy now around open software and open source and open culture, all this stuff, that orthodoxy is so intense, it's become so entrenched that people are blind to seeing when it's not working. And it's not working. I mean, we talk about how our open networks are letting us decentralize power because we can all tweet about complaints, and yet the opposite is actually happening. Power and wealth are getting more and more concentrated, and until people can release themselves from their dogma and see that truth, that what they hope and believe is not what's actually happening, until we can get there, we won't be able to change things.
But common sense tells you that if new ventures, for example, out of Silicon Valley, can have 15 people do the work that formerly 100,000 people could do, that if that gets replicated over and over and over, we're going to have a society that's in a heck of a lot of trouble. As you look at that, I mean, that's a pretty troubling outlook. How do you think we can handle that?
Well, I think just honesty and accounting will solve the problem. I mean, in a way, once you see the nature of the problem, it's not that daunting anymore. Let me use a different example. Right now, there are services where you can upload a text in English and it comes back in French, right? Google and Microsoft offer these, as do other companies. And the usual way we talk about that is we say there's this giant brain online that understands language and translates. But that's not true. The way it actually works is real people out there provided examples, without intending to, as it happens, of translations from English to French and back again. And all of these translations are gathered into a giant database and a giant computer and pattern matched against a new example. And a mashup of matches creates your translation. So it's all real people doing the work. And so as long as we remember where the real value comes that run the advanced machines we're building, we'll still have employment for people. I mean, it's really very simple. Yes, I think in 20 or 30 years.
It's a Revolution Radio. My name's Jimmy. It's High Noon in Chicago Brew. I'm sitting in. Jared Lanier is here visiting us through the ether space. We're surfing the square wave through the apocalypse.
It's like they know I'm looking from the outside. I'm creeping to the door. It's like they know. Now they're coming, yeah, now they're coming out from the shadows to take me to the court because they know I shut this down. They've been watching on my windows.
So he just put out a book. His latest book is called I'm Not a Gadget, if you want to check it out. I'm bringing him to the table simply because anyone who's into the independent media and alternative viewpoints, you're probably going to have a disliking of the dude just simply because he is, he's tied into the international elite, but he appears to want to do good still. But I'm saying it doesn't matter who it is, in the independent media, whoever it is, it doesn't matter who it is. Somebody will find something wrong with him for whatever reason. They don't like the tone of his voice. He sounds gay or whatever it is. But people should listen to the information. Look for the similarities, not the differences. That's what the computers do, don't they? Patterns, man, patterns. Now listen, we were doing a show last Saturday night. We got into this discussion, so I'm bringing it to the table here today on Chicago Brew Show for you here, your listeners, Chicago, and the listeners that are here now. So listen, we found out, I don't know, a few years ago that, obviously you're giving up your data, on a regular basis every single day. And there's a whole bunch of people in the backgrounds making money off of that, but you don't ever know about it, and you don't know how much money they're making, and it's all invisible to you, so it really doesn't come, it's no skin off your back. You don't know about it. But if you found out about it, man, maybe you'd want to collect some of that money, that you get. That's your money. You're the one flying around, going on vacation and buying shit and doing whatever you're doing and providing information, buying dog food, taking your dog to the doctor or whatever it is you're doing. You're providing data to somebody that they turn around and sell to somebody because it says something about a certain segment of the population. So, show me data on all the people taking their dogs to the groomers on Thursdays. You know what I mean? Somebody wants to know that, and they pay for it. And that's what goes on in the background. Well, guess what? I'm going to bring this. This is a 13-minute clip. And we got plenty of time, so we can go through this. And I kind of want to go through it with you. I said we went through it on Saturday night. I'm going to go through it again because, like I say, this Jared Lanier is saying that there's about $20,000 a year worth of data money that's been going on in the background for you. So how many years has that been going on? I know. I haven't seen my 20. Where's my 20G? I haven't seen it. Well, I think we figured it out the other night. It's probably they owe us 100G by now. Each of us, we could have a party. You know what I'm saying? All right, here we go. Gerald Nair fixes the internet.
What is data?
Yes. What is data? Imagine two of your old college friends just had a baby. They post a selfie. And of course it's adorable. And of course you like it. But soon you notice that your news feed starts to change. You see promotions for a baby sling that would be perfect for new parents, and it's even got a logo of your old college. And look, there's a discount. So you buy it. You've got a gift for your friends. A store's made a sale, and somewhere there's a giant tech company that just earned a little commission on the whole thing. An incredible cloud of transactions like this is the value that makes the digital economy as it is today. I'm here to tell you that you're being shortchanged.
The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled.
I came up with a few crazy scenes in Minority Report. The one where our hero is trying to run away from the police, but he's being grabbed by each billboard into advertising so they can see where he is.
John Anderson, you can use a Guinness right about now.
It was supposed to be cautionary, but...
So I want to point this out. Being grabbed means your face is recognized and you have been identified, and now you can be freely manipulated through advertising and wireless transmissions.
Instead, people just think it looks cool. And in Silicon Valley, to this day, decades later, people say, oh, that new thing you're designing, it looks like it came out of Minority Report. That's so cool. And I'm like, oh, God, like, what does it take? What does it take for people to recognize a dystopia? I kind of feel like it backfired. What has happened is heartbreaking. The whole world has become darker. The way humans respond the most intensely is with fear or anger. People who are afraid, people who are angry, they pay attention. We've created a whole civilization based on tricking each other. Let me show you what I mean. In order to sell you that baby sling, a social media company used data. They know a world of things about you and your friends, the least of which are that your friends just had a baby, that you all went to the same college. But there's even more. The algorithms that run the whole thing, they're always adjusting, doing little micro experiments to try to find that little variation that'll keep you clicking, that'll get you to click on buy. You don't just see your own friends, you see these other people who are selected because the algorithm thinks they'll get you. They might look a little richer, a little thinner, a little cuter, something like that. The algorithm doesn't even know. It just knows that these images get you. Even in this video right now, there are algorithms snatching your data with a plan to trick you in the future. So look, here's the thing. This whole shadow economy that runs our world now and concentrates all the wealth and reduces your future would not be possible without the data that's coming from you and your friends. You are the fuel for it. You're giving away all your data for free. You don't know what data has been taken from you. You don't know how it's ultimately used. You don't have any opportunity to take pride in it. You don't have any opportunity to make it better. To you, it's a mystery, so you pretend it's nothing, but it isn't nothing. When you realize that data is the new oil, when you realize that this thing being taken from you that you don't think about is the future economic value, is your future economic value. It's your future economic power.
The biggest internet IPO ever.
Values the company at more than $31 billion.
Multi-billionaire today.
All of a sudden, I hope you can see you're giving away everything in exchange for almost nothing.
You're giving away everything in exchange for nothing. Sounds like a deal. Where do I sign up? All right, so Jared Lanier is trying to fix the internet, but first and foremost, he's trying to educate everybody and let them know that there's data and there's money to be made from it. And I think there's a company that's coming out that is gonna be like a representative for you to collect your money. Obviously, you got to pay them something. He's about to talk about these things called mids, and that's the part of the discussion where I figured people, and especially if you're watching the video, he starts talking about these mids, and then he starts saying how it's going to be harder to get into certain mids. In other words, a mid is a bin that they throw you in, where your data from that mid is worth this amount of money. And then there's other data that's worth more, and you're in a different mid. And there's other data that's different, and that's a different mid. So it's harder to get in each one because the data that's needed by that mid is harder to get. So, but I mean, immediately when I heard the discussion, immediately what went through my mind was, well, it sounds like an elite structure, like you won't be able to, like the elite's data is worth more than the old working dog over there. CHICAGO Brew, busting it out. All right, listen. Let's continue. It's high noon with Chicago Brew. My name's Jimmy. I'm sitting in.
We need to affirmatively, positively invent a different system that doesn't screw everybody up in the first place. And you know what? I think we have a solution. I think we have charted a way out of this mess. And I really can't wait to tell you about it.
Yeah, the consensus is in the chat is that Jared Lanier might be gay. And maybe he is, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's your thing. But I would say it's more the way he's talking is a specific linguistic technique. And you'll notice that a lot of people in that arena, they all talk like that, especially men. For some reason, men have men in positions such as his have been taught, or not even just in positions as him. There's you could say it's across the board in society that there's a lot of people that talk like that because it sounds less threatening to the female, that you're not there, that you might be gay. So if that male aspect of your no bass in your voice, you know, don't make any sudden movements with your head or anything. No, I think it's taught. You can't tell anymore. It's not the way it used to be, my friends. Unfortunately, it's 2024. My name's Jimmy. High noon, Chicago Brew. Here's Jared Lanier fixing the internet.
We made a very particular and gargantuan mistake around the turn of the century.
10, 9, 8.
We had these two incredible drives.
Happy 2000!
One was everything should be free. No more paying for music or newspapers. Everything should be owned by the people, shared by the people. But we loved tech entrepreneurs. We loved Steve Jobs, the hero hacker who became a millionaire and a billionaire. So how do you combine, I'm going to make a Venn diagram with my fingers, socialism, everything must be free, capitalism, we have to have tech heroes. There's one little space in the middle, and that little space, the advertising model started out really cute, but the computers got more and more powerful. The algorithms got more sophisticated. Everything built up until it turned into this crazy behavioral manipulation scheme.
I'll just say I've witnessed this presentation a few times over the years, and but let me just say, out of all the times I've witnessed it, I never heard him say that right there. Hold on. That's a very important statement he just made. Let me back that thing up.
The model started out really cute, but the computers got more and more powerful. The algorithms got more sophisticated. Everything built up until it turned into this crazy behavioral manipulation scheme. Everything built up until it turned into this crazy behavioral manipulation scheme. Everything built up until it turned into this crazy behavioral manipulation scheme.
So how do we fix this?
The simplest way to get this idea is you'll get paid for your data, and more than you think. Plus, you'll pay for services that are free now, but in the balance, you'll do better. My colleague Glenn Weil and I are charting out how to make a better future, how to make a future where people feel their value, earn their value, and have dignity. All right, what's our banner? What do we call this thing? We call this body of ideas data dignity. You should have the moral rights to every...
Don't you think data dignity should be part of the political discussion, no matter who's running for president? And, we had Zoltan on here when he was running for president. I don't even know what the name of the party was. It might have even been the Technocratic Party. I don't know. I can't remember. But it doesn't matter. But he was running for president is the point. But I don't even think he was talking about it. So that's what I mean. That's the thing is, even when people appear like they're trying to help, the bottom line is they're not really talking about what's going on. And that's the thing about your free space inside of your head. That, what if I could just create this idea for you right now and paint you a little picture and pretending that there's like a visible vacuum cleaner that just comes up to the side of your head and sucks out all your ideas. Sucks out any kind of thing you've been thinking about building. I'm going to build this, whatever it is, and it just come along and suck it right out. And next thing you know, you're sitting there one day on the internet drinking your coffee, and you look, and there is your product right there. Somebody's selling it for $99.95. The exact same thing you were thinking about because somebody sniffed it right out of the inside of your skull. You think I'm joking? I'm not. Seriously, it's there. Okay. All right. Let's continue.
Bit of data that exists because you exist, now and forever. In a dignified data future, when your friends have that baby, they might still post about it, but they're going to potentially make money from that data. They'll be able to understand, decide, and earn if they want to, and you'll be able to as well. Let's say you do buy a baby sling. Your data might have been used to help promote that thing to you. In a dignified data future, you're going to get paid, and you're going to get a royalty over time as that system is used.
Okay, so how does this work?
We'll have to invent a lot of things. So we need to keep track of where somebody's data ends up. We need to have a universal way of people getting paid and paying, and it's all totally doable. We have to invent a new kind of entity that...
Here it comes, see? That's what everybody's saying right now. They're going, yeah, he sounds good. This sounds fantastic. Right on, man. Data dignity. And then here comes we got to have an entity to, manage everything. You know what I mean? There's always got to be some entity. And that's where everything starts to fall apart. For a lot of people, immediately they'll go, well, what about who's running the entity? They're not voted in, are they? No. You know what I mean? That kind of shit. So, all right, here we go.
Is an entity that would look out for your interests, would deal with all the technical and complicated stuff for you that you would be able to trust by law. So this new kind of mediator is called a MID. It stands for Mediator of Individual Data. A MID is an organization that's bigger than an individual but smaller than a whole nation. A MID is a little like a labor union where they're still enjoying some strength in numbers. Some MIDs will be easy to get into. There'll be tens of millions of people in them for certain kinds of sort of ordinary data, let's say. There'll be other MIDs that'll be hard to get into. Every MID will set its own terms. Millions of people will join the same MID. It'll be like getting car insurance or something that's very routine. Some MIDs might pay you incrementally in little micropayments. Others might pay you every month or every year or average it out over years, so it's really predictable. And that means you're not just going to earn in the moment, but you'll build up a stream of income from your data that will become like a pension in a new world. That's actually a compelling world. It's a world that can exist. When people hear about these ideas of data dignity, they often push back. It doesn't sound possible. It sounds weird. Well, I'm going to answer all of those concerns.
4 criticisms of data dignity. My data earnings will be too small to be worth it.
Not true. The whole world of Silicon Valley is powered by your data. These are trillion-dollar companies, and the value comes from your data. It's absurd to say it's not worth anything. It's absurd to say that you wouldn't make any money from it if you could. We make an estimate that a small family could, in the very near term, earn something like $20,000 a year from the value of their data.
People will never pay for Facebook.
People used to think that paying for video would be horrible, and then Netflix happened and we got peak TV. Like, when you pay for stuff, it gets better.
Poor people will be priced out of the internet.
The public library gave everyone access to printed literature. So if that creative solution was available before the internet, I'm absolutely convinced that we can rise to the occasion to come up with new solutions that are at least that good. It would benefit everybody ultimately, but would also guarantee that nobody was left out.
The tech giants will never go for this.
We might see an absolute decrease in the relative dominance of the tech companies, but the overall economy will grow so much that the tech companies will grow more than they would have otherwise. Because using your own data against you will cost money, any company that wants to will be dissuaded from doing that.
So that's important. So right now, someone can surveil you for whatever reason for free. So why wouldn't they do it? If it doesn't cost them anything, why wouldn't they sniff you when you go to the put your phone on airplane mode? Why wouldn't they do it? I mean, why not? But see, now if they say no, can't do that. Not allowed to do that. No data sniffing.
Money, any company that wants to will be dissuaded from doing that. Instead, they'll have to come up with productive, creative things to do where they add value and people want to pay for that value.
So they're not just going to have access to your data anymore for free. So if they want it, they got to pay for it. And what he's inferring is that they're not going to be willing to pay for it because it's going to cost too much. So what they'll do is they'll have to do something else with that. They'll have to do something else to make people spend money.
Value, yes. Manipulation, no. That is a dignified future. In a world where the manipulation machine is shut down, there will still be people who are paranoid. There will still...
Oh, the manipulation machine, eh? Throwing up some heavy terms around up in there, Jaron.
In a world where the manipulation machine is shut down, there will still be people who are paranoid. There will still be conspiracy theories. But there will not be a commercial incentive to incite these constantly, all the time, 24 hours a day. Our downward spiral, we can stop it simply by stopping the amplification of it. That is the way you make a working democracy. That's the way you make a humane culture. It's even worse if you think about the future where you're whatever it is you do, whether you're a nurse or a bricklayer or a writer, anything. AIs and robots will probably come for your job. The little twist that we don't want anybody to know is that in order for the AI and the robots to work, we need everybody's data. Let me tell you a story. I had an experience that moved me terribly. I met with a group of elite, brilliant high school students. They collaborated on the questions. And the first one was, if we're going to be surpassed by artificial intelligence, if we won't be needed, why are we here? I just realized that what we're doing now with our current culture of technology that's so tech-centric and just pretends that all the people out there giving us the data don't matter, that culture is sending a message of human obsolescence. We hear this so often and so much, and it breaks my heart. If you can't see that, try, for God's sakes. It's so important. Don't believe that you're worthless. It's a lie. Don't believe it. I'm certain that a dignified data economy is not an option, but a necessity.
It's high noon. Chicago Brew, mine's Jimmy.
Me
Revolution Radio.
Not in front of my judgmental eyes. Precious disguise. Been so cold, go with my own eye. Fear. I am flesh, bones. I am skin, soul. I am human. Nothing more than human. I am sweat, flaws. I am veins, scars. I am human. Nothing more than human.
My name's Ed Snowden. I'm 29 years old. I work for Booz Allen Hamilton as an infrastructure analyst for NSA in Hawaii.
What are some of the positions that you held previously within the intelligence community?
I've been a systems engineer, systems administrator, senior advisor for the Central Intelligence Agency, solutions consultant, and a telecommunications information systems officer.
One of the things people are going to be most interested in trying to understand who you are and what you're thinking is there came some point in time when you crossed this line of thinking about being a whistleblower to making the choice to actually become a whistleblower. Walk people through that decision-making process.
When you're in positions of privileged access, like a systems administrator for these sort of intelligence community agencies, you're exposed to a lot more information on a broader scale than the average employee. And because of that, you see things that may be disturbing, but over the course of a normal person's career, you'd only see one or two of these instances. When you see everything, you see them on a more frequent basis. And you recognize that some of these things are actually abuses. And when you talk to people about them, in a place like this where this is the normal state of business, people tend not to take them very seriously and move on from them. But over time, that awareness of wrongdoing sort of builds up, and you feel compelled to talk about it. And the more you talk about it, the more you're ignored, the more you're told it's not a problem. Until eventually you realize that these things need to be determined by the public, not by somebody who is simply hired by the government.
Talk a little bit about how the American surveillance state actually functions. Does it target the actions of Americans?
NSA and the intelligence community in general is focused on getting intelligence wherever it can, by any means possible, that it believes on the grounds of sort of a self-certification that they serve the national interest. Originally, we saw that focus very narrowly tailored as foreign intelligence gathered overseas. Now, increasingly, we see that it's happening domestically. And to do that, the NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone. It ingests them by default. It collects them in its system, and it filters them, and it analyzes them, and it measures them, and it stores them for periods of time, simply because that's the easiest, most efficient, and most valuable way to achieve these ends. So while they may be intending to target someone associated with a foreign government or someone that they suspect of terrorism, they're collecting your communications to do so. Any analyst at any time can target anyone, any selector, anywhere. Where those communications will be picked up depends on the range of the sensor networks and the authorities that analyst is empowered with.
So you could just, if you have authority, you could just sit on back with your coffee, with your buddies. You're all sitting around in front of these screens. You just say, hey, man, let's check in on my ex-old lady or whatever. Boop. All of a sudden, everything comes up. Nah, it's no joke. Edward Snowden.
All analysts have the ability to target everything, but I, sitting at my desk, certainly had the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president if I had a personal email.
One of the extraordinary parts about this episode is that usually whistleblowers do what they do anonymously and take steps to remain anonymous for as long as they can, which they hope often is forever. You, on the other hand, have decided to do the opposite, which is to declare yourself openly as the person behind these disclosures. Why did you choose to do that?
I think that the public is owed an explanation of the motivations behind the people who make these disclosures that are outside of the democratic model. When you are subverting the power of government, that's a fundamentally dangerous thing to democracy. And if you do that in secret consistently, as the government does when it wants to benefit from a secret action that it took, it'll kind of give its officials a mandate to go, hey, tell the press about this thing and that thing, so the public is on our side.
So the thing is that, the government has technology, the government does this, the government does that, but, what you also need to consider is there's private companies that can do the same shit. It's the same, it's technology, There's, there's people around. It's the same thing. It's like, for example, people can, there can be electronic harassment by companies, contractors. They could hire a contractor to electronically harass an individual. I can talk some about, I went to a convention at one point, and while I was there, I swear, I'm not even, 2 or 3 people came up to me and wanted to whistle blow or whatever. And I did my best to point them in the right direction as far as people that had audiences, far superior to mine, tried to put people in touch with people that if they wanted to get their story out, they could. I tried to do that. But I can share a little bit about what this dude told me when we come back. My name's Jimmy. It's high noon with Chicago Brew. I'm sitting in. We got Edward Snowden has snuck in here through the ether space. It's almost a break time. Listen, we'll be back after the top of the hour. I'll tell you what happened to this dude. This guy was a winning poker player. I'll tell you what happened. It's Revolution Radio. High noon with Chicago Brew. Right here, Wednesdays, 3 o'clock Pacific. freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Tune in to the Family Industrial Complex podcast here on Revolution Radio, Studio B, every Wednesday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Get fit, empowered, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
interrupt your normally scheduled programming to bring you this important broadcasting announcement.
Now is the time to explore your greatest potential, embracing truth, health, and wellness while discarding the system and exposing its corruption. Experience true freedom every Saturday night between 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live from Studio B, it's the Jonathan Wright Show.
Find it right here at revolution.radio.
I will defend myself against their tyranny. Number 3 is my radio broadcast. I'm squarely in front of the public all the time, and they all know what's going on.
We are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on means for expanding its sphere of influence.
Hello, my name is John Wayne, and I do a broadcast here at freedomslips.com, revolution.radio, called The Unequivocal Truth, DEFCON 1.
Freedom and fear are at war.
And folks, I assure you, we are in Defense Condition 1, as we journey perilously through this paradigm that we currently reside in. And I ask that you join me every Saturday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for The Unequivocal Truth, DEFCON 1.
We shall never surrender.
Crosstalk with Sarah Cross, a place for radio wanderers to learn about the highest laws and other related topics, with the occasional stroll through more relaxed notions. Every Wednesday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern or 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Crosstalk with Sarah Cross, Studio A on Revolution Radio.
The original machine had a base plate of prefamulated amulite, surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing, in such a way that the two spurving bearings were in a direct line with a panometric fan. The lineup consisted simply of 6 hydrocoptic Marsal vanes, so fitted to the ambifacient lunar wane shaft that side fumbling was effectively prevented. The main winding was of the normal Lotus O deltoid type, placed in panendermic semi-boloid slots of the stator, every 7th conductor being connected by a non-reversible Tremi pipe to the differential girdle spring on the up end of the gram meters.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio, taking the confusion out of transmutated lunar girdle springs for 4 years and running. Revolution Radio, the #1 listener-supported alternative media radio on the planet. All right, thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
While the blockade of Taiwan is a particularly provocative piece of brinksmanship on the part of the Chinese, defense analysts think it highly unlikely that national pride will make them want to take the world to the brink.
Would your country really put the world at risk by breaking this blockade?
Ma'am, there are 2 realities here. The State Department would like to continue to ease the Chinese and the world community. Politicians, however, face re-elections. And the mood of the American electorate is very strongly pro-Taiwan.
So, you're saying...
What I'm saying is, chances of something going seriously wrong are higher than I would like to see them.
The hotline established between myself and the Chinese president, Mr. Li Wan, is in constant use. We are absolutely on top of this situation.
Mr. President! Mr. President!
Yeah, here.
Surely one of you has got to back down.
Well, there's room enough for give and take on both sides. Thank you all now, very much.
Can you give the world an absolute guarantee that the current crisis will not escalate to a dangerous level?
That is our...
Are you still there?
Missile warning, this is Beale. Confidence is high. I repeat, confidence is high. Roger, we got...
It's high noon with Chicago Brew.
Exercise. Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Roger, understand. Major Reinhardt, we have a massive attack against the U.S. net at this time. ICBMs. Numerous ICBMs. Roger, understand. Over 300 missiles inbound now.
It's Revolution Radio.
Say whatever you have to say. I'll stand by you and do whatever you have to do to get it out and not become a reactionary to hurt the ones you love. You know you never meant to, but you did. Oh yeah, you did. And be whoever you have to be. I won't judge you, and sing whatever you have to sing to get it out and not become a recluse about your house. Come out, I know you never meant to, but you did. Oh, but you did. Still I need your swing, 'cause you always pay for it, and I need your soul, 'cause you're always so full, and I need your heart, 'cause you're always in the right places. And take whatever you
Well, you accidentally caught me. I'm sitting in for Chicago Brew, hour number 2. You can find our show, Into the Microcosm, on YouTube, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy G, and you can find it here every Friday night, 9 o'clock Pacific. It's the Kooks.
'Cause I need your sway, 'cause you always pay for it, and I need your soul, 'cause you're always so full, and I need your heart, 'cause you're always in the right places.
That's a good band. Check them out, the Kooks, if you don't know about them already. When I was a teenage surfer in San Diego, kooks were people that came there from other places. Anybody who was in the water was a kook. Anyways, don't be a kook, but check out the Kooks. It's Revolution Radio, fully listener supported. Come on down, become a supporter of the free speech that you love so well. And you can find it here 48 hours a day, 7 days a week. Chat rooms lively over there. Plenty of great shows. Come on down, check it out. If you like what you hear, become a supporter. If you can't support financially, share freely. Everyone here gives freely, so share it at will. You know, I was reminded of something. Let's check this out just for a minute. I'm not sure what's going to happen, because like I said, this is all organic today. I don't have anything planned, so here, let's check this out here. Hang on a second. Let's check it out.
Good evening. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting.
What's the frequency, Kenneth? You remember that?
On Saturday, the 4th of October, 1986, at around 10:43 p.m., 54-year-old TV anchorman Dan Rather was walking home on the Upper East Side of Manhattan after finishing a dinner with an associate at 1095 Park Avenue on 89th Street. It wasn't long after leaving when two men in their 30s started following Rather down the street and eventually began accosting him, with one of them repeating the phrase, "Kenneth, what is the frequency?" Rather explained to the two that they had the wrong man, and that he had no idea what they were talking about, which only elevated their aggressive pursuit. Upon reaching 88th Street, one of the men punched Rava in the jaw, just under the left ear, knocking him to the pavement. Rava quickly got up and fled into the nearby lobby of 1075 Park Avenue, where the attackers pursued and continued their assault, shouting the same phrase over and over whilst punching and kicking him. Both the doorman and superintendent of the building witnessed the attack, with the latter intervening and coming to Rava's aid as the assailants fled the scene. Rava suffered multiple bruises on his back and a swelling of the jaw, but neither of the two attackers robbed him of any possessions, despite him having a reasonable amount of money on him at the time. Rava was taken to Lenox Hill Hospital and assessed, but soon discharged.
You're watching America This Morning.
He told police and detectives that one of the men who attacked him was 6 foot tall, had dark hair and a moustache, and both were well dressed, wearing a dark suit, white shirt and black tie. It wasn't clear whether or not the attack was intentional or a case of mistaken identity, due to the fact that the name Kenneth was directed at Rava throughout the ordeal. A few days later, on Monday the 6th of October, Dan Rava was back on his usual slot on CBS, hosting the evening news. In his closing statement, Rava addressed the attack on national television, after news had spread about the bizarre incident in newspapers.
In closing tonight, a personal note if I may. Over the weekend, as some of you may have already heard or read, I was assaulted with violence on a Manhattan street. Why and exactly by whom remains unclear, and it may never be determined. Perhaps it was just another one of those bizarre and frightening incidents that seem to happen from time to time in our country and elsewhere. I do know that I was luckier than many other Americans who've been victims of violent crime, and for that I'm very thankful. Aside from a little stiffness and some bumps and bruises, I'm feeling fine. I just want to thank those who came to my aid, and all of you who have written or called to express your concern. We'll see you here again tomorrow night. Good night.
Papers ran the story during the
So, what's the frequency, Kenneth? Okay, so that's the farthest back I can ever remember something around this here. Hang on a second. But then, so we're talking with Edward Snowden here, or listening to him through the ether space. Stand by. So remember, this one's a little bit more recent. So let's refresh. Okay, refresh. Here we go. Let's try to refresh. Here we go.
Profilers will be talking to just about everyone who ever knew him. What those profilers are likely to begin seeing is...
Hang on, here we go.
You're watching America This Morning, America's #1 early morning news.
And as the investigation into the tragedy moves forward, there is a key question that remains: just who is Aaron Alexis?
Before they are done, profilers will be talking to just about everyone who ever knew him. What those profilers are likely to begin seeing is a study in contradictions. Aaron Alexis was a convert to Buddhism. A friend in Texas says he used to meditate with Alexis at the Buddhist temple in Fort Worth.
He's a good guy, you know. I mean, from what I know, you know, I can't say that he didn't or not, but well, once he's with me, it's nothing to be like tell me that he's going to be aggressive or no sign that he's going to shoot someone.
But Alexis's father once told detectives in Seattle, where his son once lived, that his son had anger management problems. He complained about being a victim of discrimination and about the Navy.
He just didn't seem like he would be that kind of person that would be that upset enough to go out. So that's why we're confused.
This is the Navy.
Alexis worked at a Thai restaurant in Texas. He traveled to
This is the Navy Yard shooter.
in their native language. Those who knew him can't hide their disbelief.
Not making much sense to us, and it's really sad that he's gone already and that he took 12 other people with him.
One thing that is clear is that Alexis was not a loner. He had friends, a support network.
He had some car trouble. He had some things that were going wrong. He asked me for some help in every way I could.
But he also says Alexis was passionate about video games and would stay up all night playing them.
Encouraged him every chance I could get, but that was because I didn't want him to get discouraged, you know. But obviously he got discouraged about something. I just wish I knew what it was. I really do. I just wish.
Okay, so I'm sitting there on the grass at this convention. Okay, it was Contact in the Desert. And I'm sitting there, and this guy comes up to me. And he knew who I was, and he goes, "Hey, Jimmy." He goes, "Hey." He goes, I want to tell you this story. Want to tell you this story, man, about some shit's going on, see if maybe, he appeared like he wanted me to help him or whatever, get some publicity around the subject. So I'll just give you a quick nutshell of it, because it ties into everything we're talking about right here. And it ties into your cognitive liberty as well. So before the break, I said, and I pointed out that it's not only, government people. There's no law that says only the government can have this technology. You know what I'm saying? There's no law that says only the government can have it. So anyone can have it. You can whoever can possess it, then can utilize it and use it however they deem necessary to support their customers' wishes or whatever, for how much ever they're getting paid to take care of it. Take care of the situation. So I'm gonna just say, I just heard him say they brought this guy in and he said, oh, he had car trouble and this and that. See, these are the things when a dude like this guy is a targeted individual, what happens to him is not just the end result. There's a bunch of rudimentary shit that happens to that guy. Stuff like his car, like he's starting a new job today. And he's got to be there at a certain time and this and that, and he's coming out. I mean, unbeknownst to him, he doesn't know you're on him at this point. He's just doing his life, He's got to go to his job, He's got to get there. He's got to be there right there, 7 o'clock, man. The first day, He's got to show up. Comes out, boom, his car doesn't work. Car doesn't start. You know what I mean? That's kind of shit. And then it piles up and piles up. He goes to the grocery store. He's sitting there buying his groceries. He looks over. He sees some dude in black sunglasses that's like standing over there in the aisle checking him out. He goes around the corner, sees some other dude. He's got the same glasses on. He's checking him out. You know what I mean? He starts tripping on. He starts going, what the fuck is with these people in these glasses? You know what I mean? What's Then he gets in his car and he starts driving home, and some dude comes up on him, pulls up on him. Same glasses, starts giving him a look or whatever. I mean, all that shit goes on, Meanwhile, he's being electronically harassed, like this guy that came up to me on the grass at this thing. All right? So listen. The guy comes up and says, listen, I want to tell you something. So he said, I'm almost, on some level, I almost want to give too many details about this because, I mean, this was serious, man, because, like, it was serious to the point where what I said to the guy, when he came up to me and he started saying, hey, Jimmy, I want a whistleblow or whatever. And I said, hold on there, buddy boy. Ooh. I said, don't whistleblow to me. I don't want to be part of your story, brother. I said, listen, I know people got way bigger audiences than I do. Just give me a brief synopsis and I'll pass it along to the people that I know and see if they can give you a hand getting your story out. So I'll just say this. I won't say what city he was in or whatever. He was a gambler, and he was going to gamble somewhere, okay? And he kept going there, and he kept winning and winning and winning because he was good at playing poker. So these people told him, don't come back. Don't come back. And all of a sudden, he told me he went home, and the house next door to him was vacant for a bit. And then all of a sudden somebody moved in, and then that's when it started. So he started getting these headaches, and he started getting all this stuff. He was feeling tired, and he's all fucked up. So he didn't know what was going on, but he started to think about something. He started to find out. He went over to Dr. Karlstrom's website. If you're interested in this information, this type of thing, if you have potential ideas around yourself that you may think something about what's going on with you, go over to Dr. Karlstrom with a K and check out his work on this subject. But anyway, here's the real-time story. So this guy, he eventually builds himself a pyramid structure in his room. Not a pyramid structure, but like a, kind of like a pyramid anyway, but out of water bottles that were filled with water. So they were gallon jugs, 2 rows thick, and going up like that. And that's where he would crawl in there and sleep in there, in this thing, to get away from it. So eventually he decides he's going to leave because he really enjoys going to hot springs. He said, eventually I decided I was just going to get in my van and take off. And just go around, just go to some hot springs, just be out in nature, da-da-da-da-da. So now he says he goes out and he's going to these hot springs. And he goes to this one hot springs and he's sitting there and he's by himself. There's no one else there. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody. He's sitting there for like 20, 30 minutes. He's sitting there all by himself. And where he's sitting, like it's an organized hot spring, but it's not, you don't have to pay. So he's sitting there and there's a sign up above his head that says clothing optional. He tells me. And he's sitting there. So all of a sudden, here comes a dude out of nowhere with his kids, right? And the guy's telling me, and the kids come over there and they get in the hot springs and whatever, and they're in there with him in the hot springs. But the dad is not in the hot spring. He is standing there with his cell phone, and he's recording it. And these kids are in there, and they're right next to the guy. And he says the picture behind him, there's a sign that says clothing optional or whatever, and this dad character with the cell phone and the kids that are in the hot springs now, and the dad's videotaping it. He's like, the guy said to him, the guy said, no, that's okay, sir, don't worry, you don't have to put your pants back on, you don't have to put your clothes back on, like insinuating he didn't have his clothes on even though he had his swimsuit on. All right, so the guy's like recording it, whatever. There you go. So GPS recorded it. There he is in the hot springs with the kids or whatever. So now he moves on. He's going to the next place, whatever. He stops off in the bathroom and he starts taking a leak or something. And all of a sudden, he's in the bathroom in the urinal. He's standing there, and all of a sudden, here comes some dude with some kid. You know what I mean? And he comes in, and he's got the camera, and it was like a posing opportunity. And they took those pictures. Now I'm just saying. I'm not making this shit up. I'm telling you, this happened to a dude. Okay, so, you can, take it how you will. Dr. Carlstrom, check his website out if you want to see more information about this. So this, I don't know if I'm going to continue on. Well, let's see what else they say about this guy. Here we go.
Just never happened.
That same friend tells ABC News that Alexis used to joke about shooting people while playing violent games, and that he started missing work because of his video game habit.
Now, obviously, something investigators will be looking into on this day after. Still disbelief. Here's a look at the day ahead. The White House says President Obama has ordered flags to be lowered to half staff, honoring the shooting victims. It'll remain at half staff until sunset on Friday.
On Capitol Hill, the House will observe a moment of silence this evening. A Senate committee hearing today on Stand Your Ground laws has been postponed.
And the Washington Nationals, which had postponed their game against the Braves last night, will be made up that game this afternoon, 1 p.m. as part of a split doubleheader.
And stay with ABC News and abcnews.com as we cover all of the developments in the Navy Yard shootings.
Okay, so now this guy. Let me see if I can find a report. So, I can't remember all the details clearly. I can just bullet point you on it right now. Okay, so this is what I remember. So he reported he was staying in some hotel, and he reported to the police that he was being harassed. And he was saying, there was sounds coming through the walls or something. I think something like that. And then on his rifle, he wrote "My elf weapon," and so that term, in as far as is extreme low frequency, and so he was insinuating that he was being electronically harassed, and one could say he may very well have been, and like I said. That's how they drive some dude to get all, out of there. That's how they take a targeted individual and turn him into that Crook's character or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Ask yourself that question. What would possess somebody to put themselves in a situation that is clearly a non-winning situation where you're going to get your head blown off?
But they rarely, if ever, do that when an abuse occurs. That falls to individual citizens, but they're typically maligned. It becomes a thing of these people are against the country, they're against the government, but I'm not. I'm no different from anybody else. I don't have special skills. I'm just another guy who sits there day to day in the office, watches what's happening, and goes, this is something that's not our place to decide. The public needs to decide whether these programs and policies are right or wrong. And I'm willing to go on the record to defend the authenticity of them and say, I didn't change these. I didn't modify the story. This is the truth. This is what's happening. You should decide whether we need to be doing this.
So that's not me saying it. That's Ed Snowden telling you. So Jared Lanier told us there was a machine that was manipulating us, a manipulation machine. So you've been grabbed by the manipulation machine, and once you've been grabbed by the manipulation machine, Edward Snowden says they're going to get all up inside of it, your head. That's right. So, cognitive liberty is a really important issue that everyone should be talking about. It should be the number one thing on your mind, other than getting rid of those taxes. You know what I mean? Get rid of the taxes and give me some cognitive liberty. That's what I'm saying. Here comes Edward Snowden again.
Have you given thought to what it is that the U.S. government's response to your conduct is in terms of what they...
I don't give a shit about their response, dude. I want to hear about what's going on here.
You don't have to have done anything wrong. You simply have to eventually fall under suspicion from somebody, even by a wrong call. And then they can use the system to go back in time and scrutinize every decision you've ever made, every friend you've ever discussed something with, and attack you on that basis to sort of derive suspicion from an innocent life and paint anyone in the context of a wrongdoer.
We are currently sitting in a room in Hong Kong, which is where we are because you traveled here. Talk a little bit about why it is that you came here, and specifically there are going to be people who will speculate that what you really intend to do is to defect to the country that many see as the number one rival of the United States, which is China, and that what you're really doing is essentially seeking to aid an enemy of the United States with which you intend to seek asylum. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So there's a couple assertions in those arguments that are sort of embedded in the questioning of the choice of Hong Kong. The first is that China is an enemy of the United States. It's not. I mean, there are conflicts between the United States government and Hong Kong. The people of Hong Kong have a long tradition of protesting in the streets and to a lot of other leading Western governments.
If your motive had been to harm the United States and help its enemies, or if your motive had been personal material gain, were there things that you could have done with these documents to advance those?
I'm analyzing Snowden's face right now in this video. I'm staring at him while this dude is asking a question. And he just nutted up on this question right here. I just saw him nut up on it. Let's hear what he says.
Goals that you didn't end up doing?
He's blinking. He's blinking and he nutted up. He's blinking and he nutted up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean...
he looked to the left. He blinked, he nutted up, he blinked, and he looked to the left, and now he's about to lie.
Anybody in the positions of access with the technical capabilities that I had could, suck out secrets, pass them on the open market to Russia. They always have an open door, as we do. I had access to, the full rosters of everyone working at the NSA, the entire intelligence community, and undercover assets all around the world, the locations of every station we have, what their missions are, and so forth. If I had just wanted to harm the U.S., that you could shut down the surveillance system in an afternoon. But that's...
You'd shut it down in the afternoon. Well, why didn't you shut it down then? What you coming out here for, trying to tell us all this stuff, here about it? What was the purpose of Edward Snowden operation? The Edward Snowden operation. Well, what's the purpose of it? Did he tell us about what did he tell us about nano dust or whatever, smart dust? Remember that? He's come out with a bunch of stuff, hasn't he? Then he's sitting over there in the airport in Russia for a long time, just sitting in the airport. I don't even hardly remember it, most of it. This just seems like a storyline that happened, just along with Assange, Seems like Snowden and Assange, they just meld together into this abyss of never knowing what the F even went on with all that. Because time has gone by. Time's gone by. All right, here he comes. Let's hear what he's going to say now. He said, here we go.
My intention, and I think for anyone making that argument, they need to think, if they were in my position, and you live a privileged life, you're living in Hawaii, in paradise, and making a ton of money, what would it take to make you leave everything behind? The greatest fear that I have regarding the outcome.
What would it take to make you leave it all behind? Why is he leaving it all behind? Why isn't he shutting it down in a day or whatever? I mean, if you're gonna put a S on your chest or whatever, you better wear a bulletproof vest, son, because he just said he could shut it down in an afternoon or whatever. Oh, okay. Well, whatever you say there. Edward Snowden. Edward Scissorhands Snowden.
For America of these disclosures is that nothing will change. People will see in the media all of these disclosures. They'll know the lengths that the government is going to grant themselves powers unilaterally to create greater control over American society and global society. But they won't be willing to take the risks necessarily to stand up and fight to change things, to force their representative.
Why didn't he take the risks necessary and stand up and fight and shut it down in the afternoon or whatever? Why is he telling other people to do it? You know what I mean? I mean, what's he trying to do? Inflame the Navy Yard shooter? You know what I mean? What's the purpose of the Edward Snowden operation? I don't know. It's an interesting script, though, and does, bring the eye to a focal point or whatever, It does bring a person in with the technologies being talked about. But, who knows?
To actually take a stand in their interests. And the months ahead.
He's got disgust for those who won't take a stand because he took a stand. Now he's living in an airport, Russia, sitting in those chairs, drinking those waters. No, I don't think he's living in the airport anymore, but I'm just saying, he took a stand. Look what happened to him. He went from Hawaii to kicking it, drinking a latte, to chilling at the airport, Russia. It's high noon with Chicago Brew. My name's Jimmy. I'm sitting in.
The years ahead, it's only going to get worse until eventually there will be a time where policies will change, because the only thing that restricts the activities of the surveillance state are policy. Even our agreements with other sovereign governments, we consider that to be a stipulation of policy rather than a stipulation of law. And because of that, a new leader will be elected. They'll flip the switch, say that because of the crisis because of the dangers that we face in the world, some new and unpredicted threat, we need more authority, we need more power, and there will be nothing the people can do at that point to oppose it, and it'll be turnkey tyranny.
Turnkey tyranny. Turnkey tyranny. What you gonna do about it, boy? Nothing. That's what. You know what I mean? That's exactly what can be done about it at this point. Because once the horse is out of the barn, then what? Now what? How do you bring it back? Wireless is invisible. You can't see it. You don't know what's going on. You don't see the micro networks that are formed in your house around these devices. You don't know what chips are in there. You bought some piece of shit, whatever it is, and it's just, it's got a chip in there. You don't know what's in there. It's got some smart chip in there sending out a signal on, Bluetooth. And all of a sudden, they see each other. Now they're all hooked up secretly, sending information, providing information about your energy usage or whatever the hell it is, man. You can make it as sinister as you want because it's everywhere. I mean, reverse pixels, TV's watching you, that kind of thing. And the only thing's really, at this point, the only thing that'll stop it, really, ultimately, would be a total power outage. That, on some level, would at least make it quiet for a period of time until they got things worked out or whatever. So, but other than that, I mean, we're all subject to it. There's, like I say, it's invisible. That's what I mean. You can't see it. People are willing to just get cancer. Oh, Bob got cancer. He's one of the unlucky ones. It's like it's like 1 in, what is it? It's like 1 in 4. It used to be, I don't even know what it is now. It used to be 1 in 4. Now it might be 3 in 1 from everything I'm seeing. But I'm trying to steer away from any particular items because there's plenty of them. And I'm sure the brew will get to him when he gets back. But in the meantime, we're talking about this, and we're talking about cognitive liberty in a sense. The whole show's been about cognitive liberty. And the Cognitive Liberty Party is what we started because we're forming a group to come together and fight for some human rights, the rights for you to be free within the confines of your own skull. You used to want to just be able to be free to talk. How important is your freedom of speech or your freedom to, bear arms? Those are important. If you think your freedom of speech is important and you see the violations, how that's working out, how's that working, right? How's it working out? Freedom of speech. Yeah, you're in the freedom of speech zone over there. Go over there and your freedom of speech. There you go. But other than that, you just better watch what you say. There's no freedom of speech. So now, how about this? There's a law there. There's a right that you're supposed to have that says you have freedom of speech, and you don't get it. You don't even have a right to have what's in the confines of your own brain. You don't even have a right to have that sanctity. It's not there. Do you think that's an important issue for the 21st century and moving beyond? I'm not going to be here. You know what I mean? I'll be here for a period of time, but I'm just saying, beyond me, it's, do you have kids or whatever, grandkids or whatever? The manipulation machine is in full bloom, and there's not a law on a book anywhere to prevent it. You might as well just, start drooling and push the button or whatever every time you want a cookie. You see what I'm saying? It's like that. It's like, if there's nothing to even protect you at all about it, it's just free game. It's like the wild, wild west. It's like somebody can go, hey, Bill, look at this. I figured out how to make people stop talking in the middle of their sentence. No, really? Yeah, check it out. So there is a technology. So what happens is they repeat what you say to you back to you, like a half a second. And it happens like, it doesn't even take maybe 3 seconds because it's going on milliseconds. It's like, you can't talk. You all of a sudden stop talking. So someone can make you stop talking right now. If I had that technology, don't you think how much you want to bet you could put yourself out there as a consultant? Hey, hire us. We'll come in and make people stop talking. You know, I won't make anyone stop talking. Someone's going to testify. You know, boom. All of a sudden they're just man. You see the guy? What's his face? Look up neural here. Look up neural strike. Neural strike. Look that up. But remember that. Remember what's his nuts going all blank at the Senate. Senator what's his nuts. He went dong for like a minute. They said he had a stroke or something. Yeah, neural strike. You know what I mean? Make somebody stop talking and know what they're saying. Like that. Yeah, I don't know. That's why, at least, even if there's, I mean, literally, how would you be able to detect a violation of the sanctity of your own brain? In other words, even if there was a law, how would you have evidence of your cognitive liberty being violated? You know what I mean? What could be your evidence? Well, there's a lot of ways it could be there's a lot of ways that you could detect and show your evidence in a situation like that. Man, I'm hearing these weird sounds. I don't even know what it is. Yeah, Mitch McDonald thanks Amber Cole. What is that weird sound? Sounds like a beast. It's like I don't even know what that sound is, but whatever it is, I don't like it. It must have to do because I'm talking about cognitive liberty, and the people don't want to be talking about that. You know, oh no, Bob, don't talk about cognitive liberty. No, don't worry about that. Just let us worry about the cognitive liberty. You just go over there, make people stop talking. All right. Don't you let us worry about the cognitive liberty. You just do what you're supposed to do over there. That's what we're paying you for. We're not paying you to go have discussions like that. What's his nuts? Edward Snowden. You know, keep your mouth shut. Just go over there. You want to keep making that money, living in that $500,000 McMansion, Bob? You be go over there. Be quiet. I know, man. It's a weird sound. Maybe someone's piping in on my Skype. Who the hell knows? It doesn't matter. Mom's Jimmy. This is High Noon, Chicago Brew. Every Wednesday, 3 o'clock Pacific, you'll find him here. He's up to something. I don't know what he was up to last week. I don't know what he's going to be up to next week. All I know is I'm here this week, and you can find our show on Friday nights, 9 o'clock Pacific, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean on YouTube and freeworld.fm. And we appreciate every single one of you, and we invite you to come down and become supporters of Revolution Radio and keep the thing on the air. Wouldn't it be a sad, sad day if you came here one day just to tune some your favorite show, you know, and it wasn't there? Wouldn't it? And you'd just be sitting there just thinking to yourself, man, you know, I knew I should have. I wanted to do it, but I just, you know, kept putting it off. Now I got nothing. Dead air. You know? That's how it happens, man. They come and they go. And this place has been here like a brick shit house. The Nighthawk built it. And it's here, and it's still here. And it's going to continue to be here as long as you come on down and support free speech. Revolution Radio. Mine's Jimmy. I'm glad that you stopped on by today and see you over there on TalkStream Live. We're on the same page with InfoWars, Sean Hannity, David Knight, TNT Radio, The War Room, Ground Zero Radio. Page 3, but right now is like the busiest time. All the Republican talkers are up there on page 1 and 2. So to be up in here like where we are right now is good. So it's good. Chicago Brew, bro. There you go, man. All right, listen. What else is going on around here? Let me take a look. Like I said, I came in here cold. I didn't have anything planned, so this is all, like, you know what I'm saying, off the cuff, or as it was. Revolution Radio.
Then they talk about you cold when you were headed for the skies. But you were young and bold, and baby, didn't that change with a wink of your eye? Now no one's talking about those crazy days gone by. No one talks about the times you cried. A little dreamer. Likely to succeed. I had to tell them, baby, you were armed with all you need. Seems no one's talking about those crazy days gone past. Weren't they amazed when you were pitiless? You are the little dreamer.
Friends, dreamers, and champions of freedom, this is your call to action. Join us in the Cognitive Liberty Party, a new political movement where your thoughts, your voice, and your unique perspective are celebrated and protected. We're not just forming a party, we're igniting a movement for the soul of our future. Become a cognitive libertarian. Stand with us and champion the rights of every individual to think freely, learn openly, and express themselves without restraint. Our mission is clear: to safeguard the personal freedoms that underpin our democracy and embrace innovation and foster an architecture where debate and dialogue thrive. Don't just watch history happen, be a part of it, shaping it. Your involvement can make a profound difference. Join the Cognitive Liberty Party today. Go on down to cognitiveliberty.org. Throw your email in there. We'll get back to you. Let's build a future where cognitive freedom lights the way to innovation and understanding. Together we can ensure the freedom of thought becomes the cornerstone of our society. Rise with us and become a cognitive libertarian. My name's Jimmy, and I'm proud to say I am a card-carrying member of the Cognitive Liberty Party. Come on down. Join us. All right, cognitivelibertyparty.org. Go on over there and check it out. There'll be more to come. The website should be done by Friday or Saturday night, and there'll be a place to join up, become a member. And there'll be benefit. There's you know what? Membership has benefits. Membership has benefits, you know what I mean? You've heard that before. So, like I said, hurry on down there and get yourself a seat and bring your voice to the table. All right, what time is it? We got about 10 minutes left. All right, hang on a second here. Stand by. High Noon with Chicago Brew.
Obsessing, just as long as I can share it all with you. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, come rain, come shine. Held back the beginning in between till the end of time. All that shine.
Magic Mixies Pixlings! 4 new friends from the Shimmer.
What's going on around here, man?
Access a Pixling for you when all the Shimmer.
Kidding me, man?
Fiona, Marie, Catelyn, or Faye. There's limited edition with rainbow hair and Unia with Rainbow Star, the ultimate pair. 4 friends as unique and.
What is that? I don't know. Who cares? Listen. All right. Sometimes shit happens. And that's what we call life. Mom's Jimmy. I've just been happy to be here today with you guys. Hopefully.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It could mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, of how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds. And it will be better than anything else you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is.
Alright, my name's Jimmy. It's been my pleasure to be here. That was Bukowski. Go all the way. See you Friday night. Also 1 hour on YouTube for WTF. We'll see you then.
sunny afternoon, and I can't sail my yacht. He's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon. Save me, save me, save me from this squeeze. I got a big fat mama trying to break me, and I love to live so pleasantly. I think I'm sophisticated, cause I'm living my life like a good homo sapien. But all around me everybody's multiplying, and they're walking around like flies, man. So I'm no better than the animals sitting in their cages in the zoo, man. Cause compared to the flowers and the birds and the trees, I am an ape man. I think I'm so educated and I'm so civilized, cause I'm a strict vegetarian. But with the overpopulation and inflation and starvation and the crazy politicians, I don't feel safe in this world no more. I don't wanna die in a nuclear war. I wanna sail away to a distant shore and make like an ape man. I'm an ape man, I'm an ape man, no I'm an ape man. I'm a King Kong man, I'm a voodoo man, no I'm an ape man. Cause compared to the sun that sits in the sky, compared to the clouds that say roll by, compared to the bugs and the spiders and flies, I am an ape man. La 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 la. In man's evolution, he's created the city and the motor traffic rumble. But give me half a chance and I'd be taking off my clothes and living in the jungle. Cause the only time that I feel at ease is swinging up and down in a coconut tree. Oh, what a life of luxury, to be like an ape man. I'm an ape man, I'm an ape man, oh, I'm an ape man. I'm a King Kong man, I'm a voodoo man, oh, I'm an ape man. I look out the window but I can't see the sky. The air pollution is a fucking up my eyes. I wanna get out of this city alive and make like an ape man. La la la.
La 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 la. All right, I'll be back here. Play some music in a bit, eh? All right, I gotta take a break. See, I'm all parched. I need something to wash down my tasty burger. Even though I'm not having a tasty burger, but I need something to wash down this. So I have to gag down the information there.